Welcome to howtopam. Let's Talk Linux, the channel that promotes professional computing with free open source software, and we're helping FOSS users find the answers. This tutorial is about how to loop your video background music with the SoX Exchange utility for Linux. That is the Sound Exchange utility, which is a Swiss Army knife utility for working with sound files. In this video, I'll show you how you can loop your background music, your background audio against your video. And if we go here and we put in an audio sound, you see this video is so long that the audio is so short that how are we going to get that background music to stretch right across the entire length of the whole video? Well, we could keep adding many of these background audio files. We could keep adding them. I believe this background audio file is 2.5 minutes long, so on a video this size, we'd have to put in about 65 of these files. But then we'd have to be careful when we join these files that we got a nice joint there and we don't have a gap between it. So we could keep putting them on here, but it's going to be very difficult. So that's really not the answer. And I'll show you what the answer is. The answer to do this quickly and efficiently could be in a big program like Audacity, which handles a lot of music files for Linux as well as other operating systems. But there is really a quick way to do that efficiently in the command line. Now, I'll show you how to do that. Depending what type of Linux operating system you have, you can go to your system's repository and you could download and install the SoX. And that would be as simple as sudo apt-get install SoX. But if you wish SoX to handle MP3s, which you probably do, we also want to install with SoX another library file, which is libsox fmt mp3. Now that file there is the SoX mp3 handler. So make certain if you're working with mp3s that you get the libsox fmt mp3 handler. Okay, so you install those. Go ahead and install those, and then once you install those applications, we can go ahead in the command line and use those applications. You will see here this file, this particular file here I have. It's very short file, 2 minutes and 29 seconds, I believe. And there it is there. We can just play it in MP3 player to see. Now, if you look at the time here, it says 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Okay. Now, you will also notice, in this file that in the beginning, it starts off quite nicely. But at the end, at about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, it starts tapering down, fading out. We don't really want that fade out when we're looping. So I'll also show you how to take that fade out with SoX off of that file. Okay, so let's get started with that. Let's open our terminal and let's go into this here folder. Okay, so here we have, and we've got the terminal into that. I've changed the directory into that folder, and if you put the ls command, you'll see that I have I have that file right here. Okay? So the first thing we want to do, if you remember, that file, the last 10 seconds of that file was fading out, but the beginning of it was fine. So we want to cut off the last 10 seconds of that file before we actually loop it. So let's go ahead and say that SoX, and let's put in the input file is this one here, background music .mp3, and the output file will be background music cropped, okay, .mp3. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to tell SoX to trim that file. Now we can begin with 0 at the beginning, and the file was 2 minutes and 29 seconds long. So the file was 60 and 60 and 29, which would be 149 seconds, but we want to trim off 9 seconds. So let's make this file 140. Okay, so what we're doing is we're using SoX, the input file and the output file, and it's going to trim from 0 at the beginning to 140. It's going to take 9 seconds off of that file, and that should cut out the fade out. Okay, and the beginning doesn't fade in, so we start at 0. If we wanted to cut some of the beginning off, we would start at 4 or 6 or 8 seconds into the file by changing that 0. Okay, so let's push enter there and see what we've got. Okay, it's doing that. There we go. It says it's done. Now, let's have a look at that. Right here. Here is our cropped version. Let's try it in the SM player. And you can see here now we have 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So we've cut 9 seconds off of that file. Now you'll also notice that if we move it to the end, the fade out is gone. And we want to make sure we remove that fade out so that our looped file doesn't have every 2.5 minutes of 10-second fading in and out section. It's okay if you'd like that for your sound effect, but we don't want it here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take this here file and lengthen it for the duration of our movie. Okay, so let's look at our movie here, and let's see, our video is actually about 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take that file and loop it a certain number of times. Now, if you have a calculator, you could say that 2 hours and 30 minutes would be actually 150 minutes. Is that right? Okay, so 2 hours and 30 minutes would be 150 minutes, and we can divide that by our song, which is 2.5 minutes long, say. And you see we get 60 units, okay? So we're going to have to loop that 60 times according to our calculations here. Okay, so let's go back here and let's say SoX, and let's input our background music
cropped .mp3, and our output then can be background music long .mp3. Now we're going to use the option of repeat. Okay, and we're going to repeat, we said 60 times. Okay, so we've got our input and a new name for our output, and we're going to repeat 60 times. And there we go. Okay?
Okay, give that a few minutes, and depending on the speed of your machine, when it is completed, let's go and see what we have here. Okay, let's open it up in SM Player here. You can open it in VLC if you want. You can see now the new one is 2 hours and 22 minutes long. 22 minutes and 21 seconds long. Okay, so now let's see what that does for us. Let's bring our video file here. Let's go and get this long one here. You can see the size has gone from 2.2 megabytes in our cropped version all the way to 136 megabytes. Okay, so let's open that. Let's highlight these and get rid of them. Let me take my long one down here and put that in there. Make sure we slide it up. Okay, so there you have it. We have a background audio file that's been looped together seamlessly the entire length of our video here, and we could play a little bit here. Now, I'll put it about 2.5 minutes where the seam should be, and we should be able to see that the seam is blended without a seam. We can move it to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, there's 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Let's see what the seam sounds like here at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, there you have it. The seam is actually joined without that fading in and fading out effect. Okay, so there you have it, folks. You can use SoX, Exchange, the Swiss Army knife utility for Linux in working with sound files. Through the command line, be able to seamlessly loop your audio files to match the length of your video files. Okay, so if you liked this video, give us a thumbs up and perhaps subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button there. And you can join us on Twitter at howtopam at Twitter if you like. So thanks for watching this howtopam Let's Talk Linux tutorial.